Hello everyone, this is Ben Swinger with Hamlin Seed Company. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about boron test that we did in 2020 on corn, and maybe inspire you guys to test it out a little bit on your own farm, drive some yield a little bit higher, and especially with the prices that we have today, a little bit more profitability for you. So in our area, we've had great moisture here in the last week. And then since then, we've actually had really good conditions, really conducive conditions for northern corn leaf blight, a corn disease, to come in and infect our corn. And so I think that we're going to see quite a bit of fungicide applications on corn this year. And this presentation is primarily for really high management, high yield, and then irrigated acres especially. So, first of all, boron in corn production. It is essential to nitrogen metabolism, cell division, increased pollen viability, pollen tube elongation, and moves sugars and starches throughout the plant. It becomes really important because of the pollen viability and pollen tube elongation as we get into the reproductive phases, basically tassel and belong of the corn plant. Boron does move very easily in the soil and is very subject to loss through leaching. Irrigation, of course, where we're applying irrigation, keeping that soil a little more moist, can cause increased leaching of this nutrient. In fact, most all of our tissue and soil samples that we've taken over the years are deficient in boron. Boron is also not very mobile inside the plant, and so I think applying it kind of when the plant needs it is pretty important. And it becomes really crucial as yields climb above 250 bushels per acre. And that's why I say that this is basically targeted towards irrigated acres where we're trying to break through that ceiling and achieve higher yields. 250 bushel corn needs 0.25 pounds of boron. So here's the boron seasonal uptake chart. Basically, you can see that there's two big periods where the plant takes up boron a lot. Around that V10 time frame, V10 to V14, 15, just prior to tassel, and then it actually levels out around tassel, and then it ramps up again around R2. And so I think moving forward, one thing I'd like to test is trying to apply boron in those two, or just prior to those two grand uptake phases, especially since it's not able to translocate inside the plant very well. The idea is that we get it into the plant when it needs it, and then apply it on a second part of the plant and get it into those leaves as well. So in 2020, last summer, Menold Brothers tested boron application to corn on this farm. This is their shear farm, irrigated farm, and you can see the variable rate map. We planted it on 4/22/2020 to Beck 6557. We applied a half a pound of boron through the airplane with the fungicide in the middle section of that farm. The boron cost per acre was $7.45. Even though the plant only uses a quarter pound of boron a year, we wanted to apply a half a pound, basically just to test the theory of applying boron. I wasn't as concerned about the rate this year. We just wanted to see if we could get a response, and then we can work on honing in the rate a little bit later. And that half a pound of boron costs $7.45 per acre. This field, we had in-season imagery as the year went on. Interestingly enough, we did not see a yield increase, or not a yield increase. We did not see, excuse me, that's not true at all. We did not see a pickup on the imagery from this boron application until a month to 6 weeks after application. You can see we applied on July 13th, and it wasn't until August 27th we really started to see anything. And at this point, I was getting pretty excited because normally when you apply a half a pound of a nutrient, you're kind of wondering whether you're doing anything, making a difference. But when we started seeing the differences on the imagery, I figured that there was a pretty good chance that we were going to see a yield increase. And so I got pretty excited at that point. And I'd say as the summer went on, walking into the area that had the boron applied versus not, we had girthier ears, because obviously when we applied that boron, our ear size was already determined. And so the ears were just girthier, the plants were greener and healthier. And then when it came to black layer, they definitely stayed greener longer, and we delayed black layer by, and extended the grain fill period by applying this boron. We did tissue sample this farm all year long. Unfortunately, the area that I decided to tissue sample, the point that I decided to tissue sample was outside of where we applied boron. And you can see that as the year went on, we were basically 2 to 10 parts per million on boron. The normal tissue sample range is 5 to 21, so we were towards the lower end of that. In the area where we did apply boron, I pulled one sample on July 27th in the area, and out of the area we essentially doubled our amount of boron inside that plant. And I wish I would have continued to tissue sample the boron from that point on just to track it the rest of the year, but I did not. So when we harvested that field, we were pleasantly surprised. You can see the area that we applied with boron inside the blue strips there on the right side, and we definitely got a yield increase, especially east of that waterway. You can see it's very clear cut. Where we did apply boron, definitely more corn that's above 260 bushels per acre. Using FieldView's field region report, I broke it out, and the no boron and boron region. So in the no boron region, basically we had a yield of 245 bushels per acre and a moisture of 16.4%. In the boron region, we had a yield of 258 and a moisture of 17.2. So basically we had 13 bushel yield increase and only 0.8% moisture increase. And I think the moisture increase just shows that we truly did delay black layer and allow the corn to pack on a little bit more yield there at the end. So summary, 13 bushel yield increase, $5 future corn price, $65 per acre gain, minus a $7.45 treatment cost. So the net gain per acre was $57.55. In my opinion, that's not too bad for applying half a pound of a nutrient. And I think this just proves that our boron deficiency at that yield level truly is limiting yield potential. And so that's something that we need to work on going forward. As some of you know, Bex was able to raise just above 400 bushel corn this last year in Atlanta, Indiana at their high yield study. I think their goal now is to try to achieve 500 bushel corn somewhere along the line. And they were able to achieve 400 bushel corn with utilizing drip irrigation installed by NutriDrip and overhead irrigation, as well as an aggressive crop protection and nutrient program. As you can see here, they used Beck 6622, planted at 44,000 in 10-inch rows. I don't recommend that planting population here in our world, but that's what they did. They applied fungicides 3 times from tassel and after in that corn's life. So VT, R1, and R3. They made 24 in-season nutrient applications through the drip irrigation. I was able to talk to Travis Burnett, a Beck's agronomist that's in charge of this plot there in Atlanta, Indiana. And he said the number one key to unlocking higher yield potential, assuming that the corn plant has had good growing conditions up to tassel, the number one key to unlocking higher yield potential is keeping that corn plant happy in the reproductive or grain fill stage. And obviously they applied fungicide 3 times in that period, so they thought that was pretty crucial. He said late season nutrient management was key as well, and he referenced boron and zinc specifically. They also tissue sampled this plot all summer long, and I was able to compare our tissue sample results to their tissue sample results. And ours were, for the most part, they were in line with theirs, except for potassium, which potassium is going to be a struggle for us just because we have higher CEC soils, but that's something that we can probably work on. But potassium, zinc, and boron, all those 3 nutrients for us were consistently lower than what theirs were. And so I think that zinc and boron are pretty easy to apply foliarly just because they use such a small amount, and are 2 that we can focus on here, and should be able to see some yield increases pretty quickly and pretty easily by making applications off of that. So where do we go from here? I think that we need to continue to manage our nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur well. I think with timely applications of micronutrients, namely zinc and boron, and we can drive yield higher. And then I also think that as we try to achieve higher and higher yields on these irrigated acres, we need to be applying multiple fungicide applications to keep those plants as healthy as possible. And so I think that a pre-tassel fungicide application, like somewhere right about now, actually, about shoulder to head high corn, and then follow that by a second fungicide application later on in July around milk or blister stage. Basically, that early fungicide application in combination with a boron application will get the boron in that plant during that grand uptake period, and then it'll also protect basically that middle section of the plant. So a couple leaves below the ear leaf, and then a couple leaves above the ear leaf from disease. And then that allows us to come back with the second application a little bit later, and pushing that back later will give us more residual into the growing season and push back the black layer, extend that green field period, and allow it to pack on the bushels. I am thinking that we'll apply a 1/4 pound of boron with each application, the early one and the late one, to try to hit those two grand uptake periods, and try to do that. One thing to keep in mind with that pre-tassel fungicide application, you cannot use a non-ionic surfactant. Non-ionic surfactants have been shown to cause arrested ear syndrome and to really mess up the ear in certain situations, and so we need to leave that out. But the good thing is most aerial applicators should not be as busy that time of year, and so we should be able to get it on applied in the morning when we're not as worried about evaporation and maybe even a little bit of dew on the leaves yet, and that'll help us to get a good coverage on the plant. So yeah, I think I would just encourage you guys on your irrigated acres maybe to try this, split a farm, apply a cheaper fungicide early, like right about now with a 1/4 pound of boron on half the field, come back at tassel and apply your normal fungicide package with a little bit of boron on the other half of the field, and then come back where you made that first application and do a second one. If you want some help tissue sampling so you know exactly what your plant needs before you make this application, just give me a call. Give me a call also if you just want to come up with a strategy or where would be the best place to do this. I will also be sending out here before too long a email with different corn hybrids and their response to fungicide ratings and disease ratings as well, so we can try to target the ones that will have the biggest return on investment. So yeah, I just wanted to send this out to you guys basically to try to drive yields a little bit higher, encourage you to test some things on your irrigated acres, and ultimately drive profitability up here on these irrigated acres. So any questions or comments, just give me a call. Thanks.